All right, so welcome to another GOCC New Jersey Sabbath service. Today, we have a lesson prepared for you titled, if you can see it, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Now, typically when I decide to do a presentation, it's because I think that the material that we're going to cover, it warrants a visual for you to kind of see, right? In hopes that the edification comes forth even greater, all right? So I had promised, not necessarily promised, but I had mentioned that I was going to do a lesson focused on the weaknesses of women and the weaknesses of men, right? And why? Like, why is such a lesson warranted, right? Because we know that there are some dark days ahead, right? And so we're not doing the necessary self-inventory that we need to focus on our weaknesses. And we understand, generally speaking, the gospel and the lessons that come forth, they're for everybody. But we can't ignore that in our scriptures, there are certain things that men and women deal with and battle with that are different, right? Because in fact, we are different. So this lesson today is going to focus on Eve's transgression and the fall and rise of the daughters of Zion. Now, I chose to start with the sisters first, and I'll give you the reason why. Because in the order of things, when I did the knowledge and the research, women are a weakness to men. So to me, it made sense to start with the sisters. So when we get to the men, right, we already understand at least part of our issue, right? Or challenge, I would rather say, that we have to focus on. All right. And I'm gonna say this lastly. The purpose of these lessons, like when Elder Ricard teaches a lesson, when a lesson comes from the elders, anybody that's attempting to do the work, we have the sole mind and focus that we're trying to save lives. We're trying to get our people to make it to the end together without losing the soul. Okay. All right. Now I have this poem here that I would like Sister Barad to read, if you don't mind.
Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law is wrong. It learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. Tupac Amaru Shakur.
Now, a lot of people may not recall that Tupac actually wrote poetry. And I felt that this poem couldn't be read by me or Officer Urad. It needed a woman's touch. And when we get to the end of the lesson, you will understand why. All right? Now, not that this is a quiz or anything, but who was the rose that grew from concrete in this poem? Right? Yes, Brother Bo. Well, think about the author of it. Author is Tupac. Adrian. His mom? It was actually him. He was talking about himself. Right? But here's the thing about art, right? It's subjective. It can mean something different for you. It's how you interpret it, right? So he felt that he was the rose that concrete represented what? It represented Baltimore, Oakland, New York, born from a mother who did drugs, father dead, right? Or in jail, I think it was. And he came out of that and still fulfilled his dreams. Unfortunately, he met an untimely demise, but he was the rose that grew from concrete, right? So we'll get more on that a little bit later. So the sources that we're going to use in this lesson today, the King James Bible, of course, the King James Apocrypha, which if you have the 1611, like I utilize here, you'll have both of those books in your Bible, right? You can get over the Old Quaker English. You'll get used to it. The Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, which is right here. Our preferred translation is R.H. Charles. The first book of Adam and Eve, we're going to touch upon. And then lastly, we're going to do a reading out of the Apocalypse of Moses, which is a pseudepigraphical apocryphal work, right, written by our forefathers. All right. The purpose of this lesson, right? The purpose of the lesson is to identify our weaknesses. Now, when we go through this lesson, right, you may say to yourself, well, that doesn't apply to me, or I've mastered that. I don't have to deal with this, or so on and so forth. And that could be great, right? The point is for you to be empowered to understand those things from a biblical perspective. So now if you see, you could be that aged woman that got to help younger sisters who may be struggling with these things. Or you may be a mother raising a daughter. You got to help her understand these things because she no doubt is going to have these struggles, right? Or a sister comes into the body, you recognize that spirit, right? So the purpose is for everyone to identify their weaknesses, and there's something in this for everybody. The second reason that the purpose of this lesson is for the men also, right? We're focusing on the weaknesses of the sisters, but it's for the men. Why? Because we have to understand women. We have to understand each other. And if men can better understand the battles and the struggles that sisters go through, then that's going to make you a better leader. That's going to make you a better husband, a better father, a better brother. You understand? That's the point. We need more understanding between men and women so we can see this to the end. The last thing, and this is of a quest, right? Remove all thoughts that begin with, but what about? Right? So if you're listening to the lesson, you're saying, but what about this? What if he did that? What if I saw this? Just take it out, right? Just let the spirit resonate and be edified. Put those thoughts to the side. All right, can y'all do that for me? Can I get a con? All right, praise the Most High. All right, we're going to begin in the book of Job, chapter 15.
Book of Job, chapter 15, verse 11. Are the consolations of the Most High strong with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? Why doth thine heart carry thee away?
Mm-hmm.
And what do thy eyes wink at?
What do your eyes wink at? Come on.
That thou turnest thy spirit against the Most High, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth?
That we turn our spirits against a higher and let words that are blasphemous, that are against the word of the Most High, come out of our mouth, right? Continue.
Verse 14. What is man that he should be clean?
What is man, right? Now we know the scriptures tell us in Isaiah that our righteousness is as filthy rags. None of us have anything to boast about. Even understanding that, yes, we are the children of Israel, but this Bible isn't we can't look at this and say, man, look at our glorious past, right? I see slavery, captivity, punishment. Man, we did it up for thousands of years. So all men, and we're going to see here, are unclean before the Most High, right? Let's keep going.
And he which is born of a woman, that he should be righteous.
Come on.
Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints.
He's saying, I put no trust in my saints, those who are made a covenant, right? Continue.
Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight.
Not even the heavens are clean in his sight. Why? Because you got fallen angels, angels that disobeyed. And as in the times of Noah, so the coming of the Son of Man be, even in the time when he returns, it's still going to have angels fallen. So even the heavens are unclean, right? Come on.
How much more abominable and filthy is man?
How much more abominable, if the heavens are unclean, how much more filthy and abominable is man? That man and woman, right? Continue.
Which drinketh iniquity like water.
We drink iniquity and sin like water. Goes down easy, right? So I wanted to start off with the scripture because this is not an indictment or an attack on anyone. We are all unclean before the Most High. So when we come together and we get these lessons, it's about, getting edified, seeing where we're weak at, and then fixing those situations. Con? All right. So we're going to start in the Apocalypse of Moses. Now, this offers a retelling of the story of Adam and Eve, but it has a little bit more detail in it that I want to draw from for understanding. Okay.
Apocalypse of Moses, chapter 15. Then said Eve to them, hear all my children and children's children, and I will relate to you how the enemy deceived us. It befell that we were guarding paradise, each of us the portion allotted to us from the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Now I guarded in my lot, the west and the south,
Mm-hmm.
but the devil went to Adam's lot.
The devil went to Adam's lot, come on,
where the male creatures were.
Uh-huh.
For the Most High divided the creatures, all the males he gave to your father, and all the females he gave to me.
Mm-hmm.
Verse chapter 16. And the devil spake to the serpent, saying, rise up, come to me, and I will tell thee a word whereby thou mayest have profit.
So the serpent came to Eve and said, hey, let me holler at you for a minute. Right? I got something that I want to share with you, right? Let's keep going.
And he rose and came to him.
Uh-huh.
And the devil said to him, I hear that thou art wiser than all the beasts,
Mm-hmm.
and I have come to counsel thee. Why dost thou eat of Adam's tares, and not of paradise?
Uh-huh.
Rise up, and we will cause him to be cast out of paradise,
Mm.
even as we were cast out through him.
Mm-hmm. So this is who? Satan talking to the serpent. Right? Now, if you're in the academy, led by Elder Bakar and Elder Lord, you get more understanding on who the serpent is, right? But let's just focus here. Come on.
The serpent said to him,
Uh-huh.
I fear lest the Lord be wroth with me.
Uh-huh.
The devil said to him, fear not, only be my vessel, and I will speak through thy mouth words to deceive him.
So Satan made a covenant with the serpent. All right? Listen, do my bidding, all right? I need you to take on this task. I'm going to give you all the words to speak, and then you go do what you got to do, right? Go ahead.
Chapter 17.
Uh-huh.
And instantly he hung himself from the wall of paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And when the angels ascended to worship the Most High, then Satan appeared in the form of an angel
Uh-huh.
and sang hymns like the angels.
Right, because Satan can come as a minister of light. He can deceive that way, right? Keep going.
And I bent over the wall and saw him like an angel. But he said to me, art thou Eve?
Art thou Eve? Come on.
And I say to him, I am.
Uh-huh.
What art thou doing in paradise?
Mm-hmm.
And I say to him, the Most High set us to guard and eat of it.
Mm-hmm.
The devil answered through the mouth of the serpent.
So the devil answered through the mouth of the serpent, right? Continue.
You do well, but you do not eat of every plant.
Uh-huh.
And I say, yea, we eat of all, save one only, which is in the midst of paradise,
Mm-hmm.
concerning which the Most High charged us not to eat of it.
Uh-huh.
For he said to us, on the day of which ye eat of it, ye shall die the death.
So Eve understood the commandment that came from the Father, right? Let's keep going. This is all familiar to you. We're going to get a little bit more detail.
Chapter 18.
Uh-huh.
Then the serpent said to me, may God live,
Uh-huh.
for I am grieved of your account, For I would not have you ignorant, but arise, come hither, hearken to me, and eat, and mind the value of that tree.
Right? So now the serpent is trying to beguile Eve, right? Come eat. Don't worry about it. Right? Keep going.
But I said to him, I fear lest the Most High be wroth with me, as he told us. And he said to me.
So does this, when Eve said that, she understood the commandment and she understood the judgment. Con? Right? Keep going.
And he said to me, fear not, for as soon as thou eatest of it, ye too shall be as God, and that ye shall know good and evil. But the Most High perceived this, that ye would be like him. So he envied you and said, ye shall not eat of it.
He actually said that the Most High envied you. Right? The serpent, boy, I tell you, right? Keep going.
Nay, do thou give heed to the plant, and thou wilt see its glory, its great glory. Yet I feared to take of the fruit. And he said to me, come hither, and I will give it to thee. Follow me.
He said, come hither, right? I will give it to you. Come follow me. Right? So now we're seeing the beginning of the mistake that Eve made. She was following someone else other than Adam. Right? Let's keep going.
Chapter 19. And I opened to him.
I opened to him, meaning that she was now ready to receive whatever the serpent was selling, right? Outside of her protection. Right? Keep going.
And I opened to him, and he walked a little way, and turned and said to me.
So listen, look at the game that the serpent's playing. It's like, I'm gonna walk a little bit over here, and she gonna come running right behind, right? He's playing the game of seduction, right? Keep going.
I have changed my mind, and I will not give thee to eat until thou swear to me to give also to thy husband.
So he enticed her, and then he said, listen, I ain't gonna give you this until you take an oath with me, right? So you understand, Eve understood the commandment and she understood the judgment, right? We're gonna pay this forward. I'm gonna put the cart before the horse. So let's keep going.
And I said, what sort of oath shall I swear to thee?
What sort of oath shall I swear? Right?
Yet what I know, I say to thee, by the throne of the master and by the cherubim of the tree of life, I will give also to my husband to eat.
That was the oath that she made. Okay, this sure looked good. I want to eat it now. But now, in order for me to get this thing that I'm desiring and I'm coveting now, I got to take this oath. I got to feed it to my husband. Right? And we're going to see how this had ramifications even in the law of Moses. Right? We'll get there. Let's keep going.
And when he had received the oath from me, he went and poured upon the fruit the poison of his wickedness.
So once he agreed to the oath, he poured poison on it. Right? Keep going.
Which is lust, the root of the beginning of every sin. And he bent the branch on the earth, and I took of the fruit, and I ate. Right? Keep going. Chapter 20. And in that very hour, my eyes were opened, and forthwith I knew that I was bare of the righteousness with which I had been clothed upon.
All right, so she understood the righteousness that she was wearing before she took the fruit, and she realized it was gone after she ate it. Right? It's kind of like now, if you commit a sin that you know is wrong, the Holy Spirit is grieving, like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. You don't feel the same. You don't feel like you look the same. As soon as you come around us, we looking at you like, man, what you do, man? We can read your countenance just like that. Right? Keep going.
And I wept and said to him, why hast thou done this to me, in that thou hast deprived me of the glory with which I was clothed? But I wept also about the oath which I had sworn.
So now she's bounded by this oath that she made, right? And she made the oath on the heavens, on the cherubims, like she And she's like, man, she's bounded by it, right? Let's keep going.
But he descended from the tree and vanished, and I began to seek in my nakedness, in my part, for leaves to hide my shame, but I found none. For as soon as I had eaten, the leaves showered down from all the trees in my part.
So she was trying to find some leaves, and Most High had all the leaves just fall down. Right? Keep going.
Except the fig tree only, but I took leaves from it and made for myself a girdle, and it was from the very same plant of which I had eaten.
Right. So the fig tree has a special significance in scripture, right? It signifies a time of peace, amongst other things, right? So now let's finish this up.
Chapter 21. And I cried out in that very hour, Adam, Adam, where art thou? Rise up, come to me, and I will show thee a great secret. But when your father came, I spake to him words of transgression.
She spoke to him the words of transgression, right? She was bounded by an oath to Satan, right? Keep going.
Which have brought us down from our great glory. For when he came, I opened my mouth, and the devil was speaking.
So now Satan was speaking through her, right? Speaking through her because of the oath that she made, right? Keep going.
And I began to exhort him and said, come hither, my Lord Adam, hearken to me and eat of the fruit of the tree which the Most High told us not to eat of. And thou shalt be as God. And your father answered and said, I fear lest the Most High be wroth with me. And I said to him, fear not, for as soon as thou hast eaten, thou shalt know good and evil.
Same thing, right? You'll know good and evil, right? Come on.
And speedily I persuaded him.
Say that again.
And speedily I persuaded him.
So that was Adam's sin. So when we go into the New Testament, Paul is saying Eve was deceived, not Adam, because Adam was persuaded, right? Eve knew, and what we can discern from this is that Eve did know the commandment, and she understood the judgment for what happened. She was deceived of thinking that what was that judgment and that commandment was not important, right? What was right was to eat. She was deceived. Adam knew that him eating of it was wrong, but he was persuaded, right? And this has deep ramifications for our relations today. We're going to get there, right? Let's keep going.
And he ate, and straightway his eyes were opened, and he too knew his nakedness. And to me he said, O wicked woman, what have I done to thee that thou hast deprived me of my glory of the Most High?
So Adam, in that instant, lost his glory, right? He lost his glory. And this is going to lead into the lesson that we're going to do, focusing on the weaknesses of men, right? Being persuaded and not standing firm on what the Father would have you stand on, which is the word of the Most High, right? And if we're not firm, we can be persuaded. And that's the same way, like a brother be like, you know it's wrong, brother like, yo, man, just take this, man, pop this, eat this. You know it's wrong, like, all right, man, right? You yield under the pressure. So what power does this show about a sister, right? I think what we can find in 1 Peter chapter 3, 1 and 2 would give us that understanding, right? Let's read that.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 2. Likewise, ye wives, be subject to your own husband, that if any obey not the word.
If they obey not the word, that husband is not acting as a man of the Most High. Come on.
They also may, without the word, be won by the conversation of the wives.
That even without going into the word, they can be won by the conversation of the wives. So what this is showing us is that women have the power of persuasion. And the power of persuasion, it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. So sisters can't underestimate this power, because you may find yourself in a situation where you're living with your father or your brother or your husband, right? And they're not men of the Most High, right? You still have a responsibility. And the scripture is saying you can tap into this power and trust in it, and the Most High will cover you. But that's that man's best opportunity to be won over into the truth by your power of persuasion, right? Keep going.
while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
Right. Now, I want to go into the law, right? Numbers chapter 30, because what we also saw was that Eve made an oath, right? With Satan, right? So let's go into Numbers chapter 30 and let's address this oath.
Numbers chapter 30, verse 3. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Most High and bind herself by a bond.
Right? If a woman makes a vow to the Lord, Lord, I'm going to do this. Lord, I'm going to do this or that, right? Keep going.
Being in her father's house in her youth.
Come on.
And her father hear her vow.
Come on.
And her bond wherewith she had bound her soul.
Mm-hmm.
And her father shall hold his peace at her, and all her vows shall stand.
So she makes a vow, and the father, the head of the household, hears it and says, I'm okay with that vow. Then now that vow stands. She's responsible for that vow to the Most High, right? Keep going.
And every bond wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand.
Mm-hmm.
But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth,
if the father hears that vow and says, nah, she can't keep that. She not built for that. No, right? Keep going.
not any of her vows
Mm-hmm.
or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul.
So you see that? No, keep going.
Shall stand.
Uh-huh.
And the Most High shall forgive her.
Uh-huh.
Because her father disallowed her.
Now, Eve, or a sister today, does not have the power to back out of a vow. The sister says, hey, I'm going to fast for 50 days straight, right? She's bound to that vow. She can't break it. We go into the book of the Apocalypse of Paul. If you make a vow to the Lord to do a fast and you don't complete it, there's a judgment in hell for that. But she can't break it. Who can break that vow for her? Her husband, her father, and who else? The church. The church leadership can break that vow, right? Keep going.
Verse 6. And if she had at all an husband,
if a sister had a husband, come on,
when she vowed,
or
uttered aught out of her lips,
or she uttered it out of her lips, right? Notice it doesn't say if she makes a vow unto the Lord. No, if you make a vow, any vow, and your husband hear it, keep going.
Wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband hear it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand.
If he hears it and he's okay with it, that vow will stand, right? Keep going.
And her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallowed her on the day that he heard it,
come on,
then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttereth with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and the Most High shall forgive her.
So now the husband, if his wife makes a vow to anybody, to the Lord, to another man, sister, whomever, and the husband don't agree with it, he has the power by the Father Almighty to break that vow. That's the authority that a man has. A sister can't even shake that vow. You gonna take that, and if you can finish it, most high willing you can. If you can't, there's a judgment for it. You understand? So the reason why I would surmise that the reason why we have this law is because the oath that Eve made. Right? She made that oath, she couldn't break it. And then she fulfilled that oath to Satan. Right? Now, let's talk about the weaker vessel. Now, this is interesting, right? When you think about the weaker vessel, right? It's weaker. What did that also tell us? We're both weak. Men and women are weak, right? But we're going to get a little understanding of what could be the reason why the woman is weaker, right? So let's read Genesis chapter 1.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the Most High created man in his own image.
The Most High created man in his own image, right? So when we go fast forward in the book of Corinthians, or maybe Colossians, Paul is saying, man is the image of God, and woman came from man, right? So man was created in the likeness of a higher, right? Let's keep going.
In the image of the Most High created he him, male and female created he them.
Come on. Now, the word create here, bara, which I did not know till I did this lesson. It was the reason why the thought came to my mind. I wanted Bara to read the poem. It means to create, right? Qualify, to cut down a wood, select, feed, choose, create, right? Create, right? It means to create, to form, to fashion, to make. That is what it means. So when Adam created man out of the dust of the ground, he was created, right? Let's read Genesis chapter 2.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 20. And the Most High power caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Most High power had taken from man made he a woman. Made he a woman. Made. So notice it doesn't say create, it says made. Right? We're going to get understanding on that. Keep going. And brought her unto the man.
And brought her unto the man. So when we go into that word made, it's different. It's Hebrew word H1129, right? Banah means to build, right? To build. So Adam was created out of nothing, out of dust. Eve was taken out from that rib and built, right? So it would seem to me that maybe the sister, a woman, is weaker by nature, being a derivative of the creation. You understand? This is important to understand because women had to understand it's natural. It was a part of creation why this is so, right? Do y'all follow that? All right. Now, how do we deal today? What is the counsel from the scriptures on how to deal with Eve's transgression, right? Let's read 1 Peter chapter 5.
1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands,
come on,
dwell with them according to knowledge.
Husbands, and I would argue fathers, I would argue brothers, right? You have to dwell with women according to knowledge. That's why it was imperative for men to take in this lesson. You have to have knowledge of why women are the way they are in order to empower you to be able to guide them, to lead them, right? Keep going.
Giving honor to the wife.
Giving honor to the wife. Come on.
As unto the weaker vessel.
Come on.
And as being heirs together.
Being heirs together. Not one without the other. Together. Right? Come on.
Of the grace of life. That your prayers be not hindered.
That your prayers be not hindered. Do you see how important it is to be on one accord with your wife, with your husband? If you're not completing that spiritual design of a husband and wife, your prayers ain't hitting that throne. They're being hindered. Right? They're being weakened. They may not even be making it to the throne. So it's important that we understand through knowledge, right? Hold the question. You don't see it?
No, that's not the scripture. That's not 1 Peter 3.
Oh, so I got the scripture wrong. What is it supposed to be?
1 Peter 3.
1 Peter 3:7. Okay, so I typed that in wrong. The water. So this knowledge, we're going to begin this today, right? We have to understand. And with knowledge, now it empowers you to lead differently. It's not about being angry, being upset, and all these sorts of things. You have to lead and guide a wife the same way Christ is leading and guiding us, right? Christ tried with the heavy hand under the old covenant, did he not? Right? Constant judgment. We ain't get it. So Christ said, all right, I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to be merciful, long-suffering, loving. I'm going to give you that opportunity to get it right. Now, if you don't, judgment day will come. And if you ain't get it right under grace, my judgment is just. That's it. So men have to make sure we have mercy, we have forgiveness, we got love on our hearts when we're dealing with our wives, when we're dealing with our daughters, our sisters, and so on and so forth, right? First book of Adam and Eve.
The first book of Adam and Eve, chapter 18, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Eve said to Adam, long may you live, my Lord.
Uh-huh.
To you is my life submitted.
So Eve said, to you is my life submitted. Why did she do this, right? Continue.
Since you did not take part in either the first or second collusion.
Because Satan kept coming. He didn't just stop with the tree, with the fruit. He came back a few times and beguiled Eve, and Eve kept getting deceived, right? So as a protection for her, Eve said, I'm going to submit unto you, Adam. Adam was not deceived. I give my life to you because I know that Satan will have no power over me if I'm under your guidance. So this fast forward and pays forward all the way to today. We can't ignore this design that we have here. This is for sisters' protection. Submission is not a byword or a curse word or something to be frowned upon or argue against as the world would have you do. Submission is for protection. And it's not just physical protection, because Eve or the serpent posed no physical threat to Eve. Her threat was, it was spiritual, right? So by her recognizing that she was not equipped, being the weaker vessel to overcome the wiles of Satan, I submit unto you. And Eve was righteous, right? Keep going. Go ahead.
This is why today they use so many tactics to separate us, because when the woman is by herself, you don't have that other, the strong person in the house to be like, oh, you can't do that. It's dangerous. Don't go over there. Don't buy this. You know what I'm saying? This is like especially when women go to, like, say the car broke down, right?
Mm-hmm.
They see you as prey when you go in there by yourself. You don't know what an alternator is, or you know, you never been looking at cars before, right? So they see you come in there by yourself, just like Satan. I'm gonna get over everything. This gonna be $1,000. Get your belt changed.
Right.
No, it was only for $100, right? And this is the point. They want to, when women are separate, you're an animal out there, like, you know, in the wild with no protection. But I conspired and was seduced.
So this is Eve saying she conspired and she seduced. So now we kind of see, with, in addition to her power of persuasion, she had the inclination to conspire. She had the inclination to seduce, right? This is very, very important. Let's keep going.
But I conspired and was seduced because I did not keep the commandment of the Most High. Now separate me from the light of this life. I will go to the west, and I will be there until I die.
Right. So Eve mourned the decision that she made. Right. And again, I would argue that Eve was righteous. She made a mistake. And she course corrected herself by saying, you know what? I can't beat Satan by myself. Right? If I got a head, I'm going to submit under that head. Right? Very key. The next level. What's the next level that sisters must aspire to, right? Let's read. Did I get the scripture right? Because it was late and I was finished. I got it right? Okay.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 5. For after this manner in old time, the holy women also who trusted in the Most High.
So the righteous women who trusted in the Most High, right? We're going to see what that trust manifests itself to be, right? Continue.
Adorn themselves, being in subjection unto their own husband.
Right, so being in subjection unto their own husband, in doing so, they were trusting the Father. This man is going to lead me. I trust you, Father. You won't deal with him, right? You may make a mistake or two, but I know you're dealing with him. That's okay. My elder, my bishop, my deacon, my leaders, my officers, right? I trust that the Most High is using them to guide this body, right? I'm a trust, right? Keep going.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham,
Come on,
calling him Lord.
So Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, with the hierarchy ordained by the heavens, the Father, the Son, man, woman, child, right? Christ is over man, right? So that's why the man has the power to unbind vows and so on and so forth. So that woman's Lord is who she's submitting to. Her Lord, so, and you may look at it and say, well, men don't see their Lord, right? But we have to operate in that fear and that love of Christ to follow Christ, even though we don't see him, right? But a sister wakes up to her Lord every day, be it a father or a husband or brother, right? But you have to trust the Most High is using that man, right? Keep going.
Whose daughters ye are.
So you are a daughter of Sarah under condition. Let's read.
As long as ye do well.
As long as you do what Sarah did. Right? That's the condition to be a daughter of Sarah. See, guess what? Everybody in here is a daughter of Zion. Fair enough. But Paul said in Romans, not all Israel is Israel. It's no longer good enough just to be of the flesh. You got to be of the spirit. So we got to be daughters of Sarah according to the spirit, right? Keep going.
And are not afraid with any amazement.
Any amazement. So when I look into that word amazement, it means it's toasis, Greek word 4423 in the Strongs, and it means to be afraid of with terror. So the Most High is saying here, submit and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to submit. You have to. That's the only way you are going to win. Right? And see, the world would have us downplay submission because they don't want our sisters to be protected. Right? So they put in laws, to get men out the house, right? So women can accept public assistance. That was the first step. I don't know if anyone watched the blog talk on Wednesday when Elder Ricard was going into, he showed a video where there was like maybe I'm throwing out a number, 500,000 evictions in the country, and the leading demographic of that are Black women, more than double all the other demographics. Well, that was the point. So now that's going to segue into, you want to keep your place? Right? Now they got provisions set in place that if you're LGBT, whatever, right? If you're one of those, now you get the voucher to get this apartment. right? Now it's going to be, or maybe you need to accept this jab, or maybe you need to take this chip. Got that man out the way. So we have to understand this plan is the snares that are around us. This is real. And the only way for us to survive it, we have to come back in tune and in harmony to what these scriptures have written for us, right? You want to add something?
Yeah, when you said that about if you're LGBT, they can help you more, right? That's just because we have more single women than we ever had in history today. That will make them think. It'll basically lead them into that lifestyle,
right?
For the benefit, just like it did before in the 70s. Like, get the man out, we'll give you more money so you can get your own spot, you can get food stamps, all that stuff, right? So now, because there's no men to kick out, we'll just give you money if you're LGBT.
Right, right. And remember, what did Satan do to Eve? Oh, you want this? Well, come follow me. Make this oath with me. So now, if you go the LGBTQ route, you go that route, and you can earn this, you can get this place, you can do this. Now they're going to use you as a political tool in an attempt to seduce you into that lifestyle. It's the weaker vessel. We know how to get her. The man ain't around. And she don't know how to submit. That's what we have to be mindful of, right? Testament of Reuben. Testament of Reuben. Let's read.
Testament of Reuben, chapter 5. For evil are women, my children, and since they have no power or strength over man.
So Reuben, one of the 12 patriarchs that we find in this book here, he says here that women had no power or strength over man. This is key. That's why persuasion is that power, right? Let's read.
They use wiles by outward attraction.
They use wiles by outward attractions, right? If I can leverage and manipulate my outward attractions, then I can get a man to do my bidding, right? And this is very important. And again, this may be something that you don't necessarily deal with or struggle with, and that's fine. But we know, according to scripture, someone is, right? And let me tell it over the encounters I've had over the past 2022. This is in the church and is out of the church. Trust and believe. All right, let's keep going.
They use wiles by outward attraction, that they may draw him to themselves.
So a sister can draw a man to herself without uttering a word. Some of y'all men fell for that. Be real. I fell a couple times, thinking I was the man. I'm like, yo, man, you see her? She crossed me. Let me go over there. What's the first thing I would do? I'm gonna buy you a drink. I'm looking now like, man, I was played. She was just thirsty. The sisters had that power. Don't have to utter a word. And see, when we get into the men, right? This is why we gonna get there, right? I mean, spare y'all, man. Y'all lessons like.
You can see the weaknesses between the two.
Yes.
Women's weakness is what they hear. Man's weakness is what he sees.
Come. Let's keep going.
And whom they cannot bewitch by outward attraction.
Whom they can't bewitch. Bewitch means to change your mindset, your attitude, your opinion, right? You may be against something, but you can be bewitched. That's why, men of business, they will bring a beautiful woman to the closing table, right? Jay-Z can close a whole lot of deals with Beyonce sitting right there. They don't even care about him. How you doing? When the next album coming out? Da, da, da. Who cares about Jay? That's why when he got with Beyonce, his stock went through the roof. The power of a sister, right? Keep going.
Him they overcome by craft.
So if they can't overcome without outward attraction, they will overcome by craft. They'll find a way. Find a way. And so as we saw with Eve, she conspired, she seduced. So she leveraged her power for those things. We have to understand that that's something that's, and we're going to see, that's something that's embedded. That's part of the weakness, right? Keep going.
But moreover, concerning them, the angel of the Lord told me and taught me that women are overcome by the spirit of fornication more than men.
Now, who would have thought that? Who would have thought that women are overcome by the spirit of fornication more than men? Now, the question is going to be, I'm going to pose, we'll get to it. What is fornication? We're going to get the understanding on it, right? But this is why we have to leverage our Hebrew writings to the fullest extent, because these are giving us the keys to salvation. These are all the things we need, adding on all the spiritual food that Christ gave us to finish this, right? Women are overcome by the spirit of fornication more than men. Continue.
And in their heart, they plot against men.
In their heart, they plot against men. Come on.
And by means of their adornment, they deceive first their mind.
They deceive, but see, check this out. This is not saying deceiving the man's mind, deceiving their own minds. That's why the scripture said Eve was deceived and Adam persuaded, right? Keep going.
And by the glance of the eye, instill the poison.
By the glance, so after she deceives herself, she instilled that poison. I'm gonna get that sucker to come over here and do my will, right? And you thinking, oh, man, I'm fly today. I knew this cologne was working. No, you just the next victim, right?
And then through the accomplished act, they take them captive.
So through the accomplished act of her instilling that poison, now he's a captive. He's a captive. Spirit of fornications is more prone into women than men, right? Go ahead.
This right here is written thousands of years ago, right?
Mm.
And today, this is even more prominent today. I see.
Oh yeah.
Online, you have women teach because, like I said, there's more single people than ever before, right? So instead of trying to learn that and getting a husband that way, right? There's women teaching women on how to finesse guys. And if you look, there's women all over, all the things I can use this. They're teaching them how to trick men by these tactics to get money, housing, flew out places, and also online.
Sisters are becoming multi-millionaires by going on OnlyFans, right? I'm just gonna show my toes and you getting 6 figures. You ain't gotta work. But it's seduction, right? Let's keep going. Good point.
For a woman cannot force a man openly, but by a harlot's bearing, she beguiles him.
So what does this mean by a harlot's bearing? Right? We're going to get the understanding, but it's a harlot has certain ways about her that she uses to beguile men. And we're going to find that out, right? Let's keep going.
Flee, therefore, fornication with children, and command your wives and your daughters.
So now here comes the commandment. And this is what men have to understand, right? Flee therefore fornication, my children, and command your wives and daughters. Command your sisters, right? What? Let's keep going.
That they adorn not their heads and faces to deceive the mind.
To deceive their own minds, come on.
Because every woman who uses these wiles have been reserved for eternal punishment.
Because every sister that uses these wiles to hold captive a man is being reserved for eternal judgment. That's hell. So this is why we have to have this understanding, right? So there was something else I wanted to pick in here. Oh, and I want to go back to you have to, this is the authority of the head of the household or the head of the church, right? You have to command your sisters, right? Your mothers, your daughters, your wives, right? Wife, right? You have to command them because they can be overcome with this and unbeknownst to themselves. They could have deceived themselves. Now you got to step in and say, nah, this we want to end this conversation. Oh, you calling this guy? No, we dead now. Church has to come in and bring these type of decrees for the protection or the sanctity of the church. And we're going to see that next, right? Keep going.
For thus they allured the watchers who were before the flood.
So digging, check this out. The sisters allured the fallen angels, not the other way around. They allured them. Right? Keep going.
For as these continually beheld them, they lusted after them.
So the daughters, the sisters, lusted after the fallen angels. Right? Again, the sight. They're coveting. They saw the fruit. They see this angel here, and man, he looked good, right? Keep going.
And they conceived the act.
And they conceived the act
in their minds.
In their minds, right? Come on.
Where they changed themselves in the shape of men
and
appeared to them when they were with their husbands.
They appeared as men to these women, and the women were lusting after them despite their husbands being there. My husband, he's fine and all, but this guy right here, right? This is deep. And if we look in what it's saying, the spirit of fornication is overcome by sisters more than men. You got to look at the danger of that. Let's look forward. As in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. There's going to be fallen angels laying with women. Right? We could be trying to flee and make our way to the wilderness, right? You single, you married, and you see, Michael B. Jordan coming your way. You like, oh my goodness. He said, slick thing here, right? And next thing you know, you got a 100-pound Nephilim baby and stuff. And we like, where'd that come from? That ain't come from me, right? But we understand that that's a weakness. It's possible, it's probable. These sisters were with their husbands and they were lusting after other men. Lusting after other men. So, as Paul wrote in Romans chapter 15, I believe verse 4, that which was written aforetime was written for our learning. We have to learn from this, right? Let's keep going.
And the women, lusting in their minds after their forms, gave birth to giants. For the watchers appeared to them as reaching even unto heaven.
So we in the wilderness and a Nephilim pop out. And we already know what went down, right? And now we on the run again because this 20-foot beast. Listen. But what's going to give you power over the spirit of fornication? Submission. You submit now. Your husband, and we're going to touch upon this, right? Because a lot of people underestimate the spiritual foresight that the Most High gives a husband. It's not respected. It's not recognized. We're going to get to that. See, I'm nice, and I ain't going about this nice, right? I ain't trying to leave you bleeding, right? I'm trying to go about this nice. All right, let's finish up in Testament of Reuben.
Testament of Reuben.
Brothers, don't clap too much, all right?
Testament of Reuben, chapter 6. Beware, therefore, of fornication.
And
if you wish to be pure in mind.
If you wish to be pure in mind. pure, right? Come on,
Guard your senses from every woman.
right? Guard your senses, right? But let's keep going, right? Go ahead.
And command the women likewise not to associate with men.
Command the women likewise to not associate with men. Now, I don't want to listen, we got a good thing going here in New Jersey body at GOCC, right? Brothers and sisters, we get along, we doing good, right? I really don't have a lot of issues between y'all two. Get y'all in order, right? I appreciate it. Trust me, I do. Right? Gives me less to deal with. You know what I'm saying? But we also know that there could be something that an aged sister or a brother or sister could recognize a certain spirit on somebody. And I got to come in or something. Hey, listen, discontinue with that. And I'm going to tell you this. Listen, I've seen enough transgressions, right, in my time in this body, that there was always a warning. Always a warning first. The Most High knows how to deliver the righteous out of, you know what I mean, out of temptation. There's always come a warning, but then they don't listen. And next thing you know, stuff happens. And then I'm being so real. This happens. This happens to this day. You know what I'm saying? I'm spare the innocent. Lord, the guilty. Let's keep going.
And command the women likewise not to associate with men, that they also may be pure in mind.
Right. So if a sister's always around a brother, eventually that brother going to become your type. Quam said that in the Bible said yesterday. Right? He's going to become your type. Like, man, he is kind of cute. But that's okay. And see, this is going to lead into the announcement I got to make after the service that came out of a car. All right? Because this is deep. Your mind can become corrupted if it's too many meetings. You gotta know when enough is enough. Right? Keep going.
For constant meetings.
Constant meetings, right? Phone, Instagram, Zoom, whatever, right? Keep going.
Even though the ungodly deed be not wrought, are to them an irremediable disease.
Irremediable disease. What does irremediable mean? No remedy. Can't be cured. So that spirit of fornication, it cannot be cured. It can be managed. It can even be overcome, right, by the spirit, because you got to mortify your members every day. And you can get to the point where it's null and void because you've grown so much in the spirit. It's not a thorn to you anymore. But do believe it's an irremediable disease. It cannot be cured. Right? Let's keep going.
And to us, destruction of Beliar.
Which is Satan.
And an eternal reproach.
Eternal reproach, meaning forever. Right? Until we get our new bodies, this is what we're going to have to deal with. Right? Keep going.
For in fornication there is neither understanding nor godliness, and all jealousy dwelleth in the lust thereof.
So now we can't run from this, right? We can't run from this. It's an irremediable disease. Constant meetings. Things have to be done in order for the body's protection. All right? All right. Let's get some dictionary definitions. Fornication. Let's read.
Definition for fornication. The incontinence or lewdness of unmarried persons.
Right. And unmarried people coming together. That's an unlawful act. That's fornication. Right? Abominable to the Most High. Most High tells us in 1 Corinthians 6:9, no fornicator will enter into the kingdom of heaven. Right? Let's keep going.
Male or female.
Male or female.
Also the criminal conversation.
Criminal conversation.
Of a married man with an unmarried woman.
A married man with an unmarried woman. Right? Criminal conversation. What could that be? What could that be? Maybe a little flirting. Right? It could be. You can look at the laws of the Most High. It could be the laws of that husband. I don't want you having these conversations, or a sister under her father or brother's or husband's roof. I don't want you having certain conversations with with brothers, right? That could be criminal, right?
Yeah.
But this is where it gets deep, because I'm looking now at heresy and how heresy is been ravaging the church, right? Philly, New York, Jersey, you know what I'm saying? We got sisters, and it's all sisters. Overwhelming majority, I would say, not all. 99%. Recently, okay, I'll just say recently, they're hearing what? Somebody's coming bringing a different Christ. Oh, Jerusalem is in South Africa. Well, Paul said, if someone else preach you another Christ, right, let them be accursed. Don't even deal with them. So now a sister is saying, well, you know what? And this happened with true life. You used to talk to Deacon Aaron about this doctrine that you find. Nah, I don't need to talk to Deacon Aaron. Famous last words. You receive not the love of the truth, the Most High is going to give you a strong delusion. Right? So now you think you moving to Ghana and some stranger is going to build a toothpick factory so you can sell toothpicks to sustain yourself. True story. Right? We going into an unprecedented time, and we got elder sisters leaving their protection because they're giving heed to seducing spirits. That's fornication. That's a criminal conversation that you had where you should have checked that sister. Even though she looked like you, that's your homegirl, you had to check her. Nah, we're not here for that. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Over the past month, I'm trying not to go too much. Over the past month, I had a couple of sisters call me, hit me up. Don't think I know anything, right? But they don't. We're gonna go into the understanding that the priests of the Lord are given, that discernment. And the sisters, asking me questions they ain't never asked before. Like, what you think about this communion, Aaron? You think we should be taking communion? I said, all right, she think I don't know who she's talking to. Okay. I know who you having this conversation with. I just cut straight to the chase. All right, you've been having a conversation with someone. Yes. Okay. Then it comes out, Deacon Aaron, I was told that not to tell you that I had this conversation with this person. Serpent. So sisters are getting plucked off following these other doctrines because they're not trusting their head. There's only so much I can do. I'm not in everybody's house. You have to take that responsibility. Somebody trying to bring you a different Christ, trying to bewitch you, trying you to offend you, to not trust leadership, to not trust Elder Bakar, and so on and so forth. You have to check that. That's your responsibility. I'm not there. You have to understand that's a criminal conversation. Now you're guilty. So it's what I'm learning is that the fornication precedes the heresy. The fornication leads to the heresy. Right? Let's keep going. I'm actually trying to time myself, right? I'm not doing too good right now, but go ahead. This might be too long. Go ahead. Okay. So it says here, the second definition is adultery, incest, idolatry, and forsaking of the true God and worshiping of idols, right? And it gives some scriptural references. This is what fornication is, right? So we'll go next. We'll go to what a fornicator is. A fornicator.
Adultery.
Read fornicator. Yep.
Fornicator.
Yep.
An unmarried person, male or female, who has criminal conversation with the other sex.
Who has criminal conversations with the other sex. Right? So let's keep going.
Also, a married man who has sexual commerce with an unmarried woman.
Right. See, adultery. Right. A lewd person and idolater, right? So again, a criminal conversation, right? We can stomp heresy out of this church forever if we eliminated the fornication. How do you eliminate that? Submission. It's the only way. That's not thus saith Deacon Aaron, that's thus saith the patriarchs that spoke with the Holy Spirit, that gave us this understanding. That's how we stomp that out. That's how we protect this church. All right. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, 9 through 12.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, verse 9. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Right. So when Reuben was talking about that harlotry that they leverage, this is what it's referring to, right? The haughty looks, the eyelids, right? Now, the beautifying of the eyelids, that understanding came from the fallen angels. We read that in the book of Enoch. I'm not knocking any sister that wears makeup or any of that kind, so don't take it that way. But we have to understand the purpose of it was for women to leverage that to beguile men, right? Let's keep going.
If thy daughter be shameless,
If your daughter be shameless, right? I would also say sister, or I would also say wife, right? If she's shameless, come on,
keep her in straitly.
keep her in order, keep her on that straight path, move things out the way, protect her innocence, right? Because if she loses her innocence, you might not be able to get her back, right? Keep going.
Lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty.
So if a sister has too much liberty, too much to go to and fro and do whatever she wants, hanging out all times of the night, if she has too much liberty, she can abuse herself, right? And that's part of the deception that will come. She'll deceive herself. Well, wait a minute, everybody else is doing it. Why can't I? We're gonna touch on that, right? Let's keep going.
Verse 11. Watch over an impudent eye.
Watch over with an impudent eye. That's the man's job, right? That's the husband, the father, the brother, the son. That's my job. That's leadership's job. We have to watch over our sisters to make sure that they are operating with discretion and in righteousness, right? Keep going.
And marvel not if she trespass against thee. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler.
Can you believe the Bible says this, right? Come on.
When he hath found a fountain.
I'm not even going to edify on that. Come on.
When he hath found a fountain and drink of every water near her, by every hedge will she sit down over her quiver against every arrow.
I'll leave it at that. Right? But a sister, if she doesn't have structure, she doesn't have guidance coming from a male figure that she can look up to that will protect her, she can fall. Now, here's the thing. We understand what sisters are overcome with. So if a man takes advantage of that, right? If you can't protect your sister from herself, then what type of leader does that make you? What type of protector does that make you? You take a sister's mind, you take her body, knowing that it's out of order, that makes you an abuser. So what the men got to do, if you are a man of the Lord, and the sister is acting in a way that's unbecoming of herself, of a daughter of Sarah, what are you supposed to do? Restore her in the spirit of meekness, lest you also be tempted, right? So we have to operate in that divine order, that priestly order, because if we don't, and I've seen this time and time again, a sister and a brother would get married, and she's really instilled the poison, got him captive, and he lost all his glory. You're gonna see, right? Becomes a shell of his former self, right? That man will forever be fighting for his respect, forever. She'll never submit to you. Why would she? She already got you captive. So this is why men have to dwell with sisters according to knowledge. You see a sister acting unbecoming, married or single, you have to deal with that accordingly. Rebuke if you have to, but don't fall for it, and don't take advantage of a sister's weakness. If her weakness is to fornicate, don't take advantage of that. And that's why we have courtship guidelines, right? To protect the sanctity of the church, right? I'm gonna stop right there. I said I want to know this. I came across this in my studies, right? Because I see what the body suffers, not just in Jersey, but just, talking with other leaders. And I'm always trying to empower myself to understand things better so I can be a better counselor and support you, right? I want to read this right here because I thought this was profound. Check this out.
Women who grow up without fathers.
Women who grow up without fathers, come on.
A strong masculine presence in the home, or who have had bad relationship with their fathers, tend to crave male attention and validation in unhealthy ways.
Right, and this is very true. Now, Satan understands this. He knows Israel's going to suffer these curses. We're going to get the man out the house. Our families are going to be destroyed. And a lot of sisters are going to grow up without, and men grow up without that father figure in the home as he should be, right? But how it affects men is different from how it affects women, right? Men, when they're raised by women, as we saw in Jim Crow, that they were raised in a way to be physically strong but mentally weak. And that results in men becoming overly emotional, right? And I'll be the first one to say it. From my observation of things over the past 10 years in this church, women have proven to be a little more resilient, generally speaking, right? Because you can't be mentally weak and fight demons. You're not going to win. And that's how the black man and woman, the Latino man and women, the children of Israel were raised to be mentally weak, right? So, but women, without that father figure in the home, they'll crave that male attention and validation in unhealthy ways. So now if I know that leaves you prone to vanity, now Satan's going to put vanity in your path. You're going to adopt it. You're going to be on Instagram. You're going to be on doing all this and that and all this, right? Vanity. You're searching for that validation and that attention that you didn't get, right? Let's keep going.
They often seek and invite romantic attention from many men. They never learn the kind of men they should trust.
So without that man in the home, they don't, and that righteous man in the home, they don't know what type of man to trust. Right? Keep going.
Respect and look up to.
Come on.
When you combine this with character flaws,
that fact plus character flaws, come on.
Such as being devious and dishonest.
Right? That's the curse of Eve, right? Conspiracy and seduction. If you combine the lack of a father and those things that Eve is prone to, let's read.
A toxic and untrustworthy woman is the result.
That was Satan's design. That was his purpose. I'm going to create this type of system, and I'm going to create this type of man. And he did it by understanding our weaknesses. Satan knows all these books, right? Now we're cracking the code because we're going into these books and we're getting the understanding, right? Let's keep going.
Smart men always look at a woman's actions to determine if she is capable of being loyal, faithful, and trustworthy.
Right. And see, but men got it all twisted, right? Men, we see, and this brought on you see generations ago, it was about, a woman would become a housewife, become, married and work, so on and so forth, support the home, modest, so on and so forth. But then now, fast forward to today, they have, housewives of Atlanta, housewives of Miami. They sell you a different version of how a sister should be, a woman of leisure, right? I'm going to get married. I'm going to leverage my looks and my seduction, and I'm going to get the bag. Who got the biggest bag? I'm going to go to this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, right? And so now sisters look down on someone being a housewife. Well, that's honorable. That's honorable, right? So there's not too many choices here. You can be a single sister, and that's fine. But a woman of leisure that's seeking to be pampered, that's nowhere in scripture, right?
Yeah.
So did we finish that? Con.
We're trying to see too that they left the men to the wayside. Everything they did was an attack on the woman. Because really, if we just fix the women, we fix the men by proxy because we're connected. So this is why they did that. Separate us. So we can't protect them. They don't, and they're not even wanting the men to be there to protect.
Exactly.
Like, we can do this ourselves. We don't need you, right? So Satan has free reign, right?
Con. Let's read. This is shamefacedness, right? This is a righteous defense mechanism that sisters and men can possess. Because men have to know how to be shamefaced. This is something that I learned how to be, right? Let's read.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, verse 15. A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace.
A woman that's shamefaced, right? That's a double grace, right? Come on.
And her continent mind cannot be weighed or be valued.
You can't even value a woman who is shamefaced, right? Let's get the understanding of shamefaced. It means it's ahidos, G127 in the Strongs, and it means a sense of shame or honor, modesty, bashfulness, reverence. That's key, reverence, right? It's not just being bashful. Regard for others, respect. What does it mean to be bashful? Reluctant to draw attention to oneself, shy. Now, there's nothing wrong with, looking presentable, looking beautiful. Our sisters are gorgeous, right? We got the best women on earth. We know that. But there's a certain way a sister can carry it where she's seeking attention or she's just like, I'm modest with what I'm rocking right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm bejeweled and this and that, but I'm modest with it. I'm cool with it. And sisters know this better than a man, right? A sister know, like, oh, she thinks she cute, right? Y'all know better than us. We don't think that way. But it's how you manage how you carry yourself and being modest and being bashful, right? But reverence is key. If you're shamefaced towards your husband, please mute yourself. If you're shamefaced towards your husband, you reverence your husband. You honor and respect your husband. And I'm gonna show you how men can be shamefaced. This is key. It's funny because I'm having these conversations, and somebody please.
Your head up, yo.
Yeah, please. I'm gonna boot you out of here if you unmute again, please. Men need to learn how to be shamefaced as well. You understand? I had a conversation this week, and it was with a sister who, is no longer with us. Trying to explain something to her. I'm gonna talk about this. Try to explain something to her, bring her scripture. She comes and says she's trying to cut me with the scripture. Well, I know the scripture. I got the scripture. I said, wait a minute. This ain't that type of conversation. This is teacher to student. This ain't no peer conversation where we building on precepts. Who told you that? When I sit down and I'm talking to an elder, I say Elder Bakar or Elder Lawyer, so on and so forth, or whomever, and he's explaining the scripture to me, you got to know how to read the room. You got to know how to be respectful. I'm not going to say, well, hold up, Elder, I got this right here. Right? Elder, thank you for explaining. I understand it. Can you help me harmonize this with this scripture so I can put it all together? Right? So I gave you our word, harmonize, right? You see how you did that? And that still shows him respect and honor. And it doesn't seem like I'm trying to outdo him. And I learned that from a young man because my father ain't playing no games. If I came to my father a certain way, listen, the one time I tried to raise up against my father, I caught right hooks and left hooks, right? Straight up. Never did it again. I remember coming downstairs to dinner. Everybody was like this. They even look at me. They was like, Eric, whew, I heard that. Everybody was just sad. It was like a funeral. Like I just died. I was sad. I didn't even look at nobody. I was like, Pastor, let me get that. Shame face. I was like, man. Everybody just act like they ain't here. What just went down? Whew, furniture moving. Never did that again. And it shouldn't take you putting hands on me to get that. That's my father. Like I gotta reverence you. And this is why the scriptures say, and treat your elders as fathers. But there's a gap there because we know we got curses, right? A lot of us don't grow up with fathers. So how are you gonna know how to honor a man as a father and you never had one in your life that way to know how to do that? So that's where we have to be empathetic. We know there's a gap there. We're going to give you time to get it, but at some point, you got to get it right. I'm not going to take abuse too much. You know what I'm saying? On the topic of that, let me see. Man, I might keep you off for a while, but and I vow moving forward that this is what I'm going to have to do, right? Let me preface it with this. I love all y'all. I understand that, right? You probably expected something to come, right? I'm just talking over the last month and a half, 2 months, right? Constant counsels, right? And I'm finding myself in situations where my counsel is not being accepted, it's being countered. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not doing this. Or I'm not going to do that. Da, da, da. No, I don't want counsel. Right? Got shot that way, my way. Right? I don't even want to counsel. No. Right? And I said, moving forward, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to sit there and just have you block all the counsel that's coming from the Most High. I just got to 2 or 3 admonitions. I got to realize you don't want to be guided. Deal with that on your own. That's it. And you want to see, you want to get a little further in this lesson, what that's going to ultimately result in. But I can't sit there and you got an excuse to not do anything I'm saying. I was in 5 councils this past since last Sabbath. By the end of the week, I was like, listen, I can't, nobody to hear me. I love y'all. All right, to be discreet. Let's talk about it.
Titus chapter 2, verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as become holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
Right. This is the responsibility. Even if you're not an aged woman, you could become aged in this truth. You could be young in age, but aged in this church, right? So this is something that all sisters should aspire to, right? Let's keep going.
That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husband, to love their children, to be discreet. To be discreet, come on. Chaste. Keepers at home. Good. Obedient to their own husband.
This is all we're talking. This is salvation. Discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their husband. These are the keys to salvation. Read.
That the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
So if you're not doing these things, you are blaspheming God. Bottom line. Read it frontwards and backwards. If you're not doing these things, and this is where the self-inventory comes in at, you are blaspheming the Most High. Bottom line. This is we got the take-home test, right? And we taking it every day. But when the pencils are down and the test is over, you got to be found having done all these things. If not, you're blaspheming God. Now, the definition of discreet, and this is important, prudent, wise in avoiding errors or evil. Sisters got to know how to move. How to move. And you looking good today, you look out, all right, you might get a little extra attention. How you handle that? Well, I know this brother has been kind of seemed like he filmed me a little bit. Let me be careful. I got to know how to move. Wise in avoiding error. So what? So you can be blameless. Because what happens if you deceive your mind and say, oh, it's okay for me to have this conversation? Criminal. Now you're no longer prudent, right? And in selecting the best means to accomplish a purpose, that's the gift of the Holy Spirit. Circumspect, cautious, wary, and not rash. This is all comes from the Holy Spirit. Read Proverbs 8, one of the gifts, and that's the feminine spirit, right? Prudence. You know how to accomplish things. You take the least path to resistance to get the job done well. That's the power that a woman has in being discreet, right? Another definition, having or showing discernment or good judgment in conduct, right? You know how to conduct yourself with a man or with a woman, with a brother, with a sister, with a husband, wife, father, mother. You know how to conduct yourself. You got wisdom, you got discernment, right? Especially in speech. You got to know how to talk to people. Now remember, one of the superpowers that a sister has is that chaste conversation, the power of persuasion. So that discernment has to be perceived through your speech. Not if you saying ungodly things and pushing back on whomever, you got to ask yourself, are you being discreet? Prudent, especially capable of preserving prudent silence, unpretentious, modest, the warmth and discreet elegance of a civilized home. This is what it means to be discreet. Let's read.
Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout.
So a pig's snout having a piece of jewel in there, right? What good is it if a pig got a big nose ring of gold? Right? Go ahead.
So is a fair woman, which is without discretion.
So is a beautiful woman that is not discreet, that doesn't have discretion. It's as useless as a pig having some jewelry on. He's just going to get dirty. It doesn't matter. Right? Proverbs 27:7.
Proverbs chapter 27, verse 7.
The
full soul loatheth a honeycomb.
Right? A full soul loathes a honeycomb, right? This is talking about being content. Right? Go ahead.
But to the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet.
So sometimes you got to appreciate what you have. Right? You're a full soul. Let's say on your plate, you got a husband, but you full. You can't stand your husband. Man, this dude, man, why you give me him, right? Right? But that hungry soul, that sister that wants a husband, man, every bitter thing, man, that he did that, man, I can take that. That's it. Man, that ain't that bad, right? And see, we got to change the mindset, right? It shouldn't be, and I thought about this on the ride here. A sister the first thing shouldn't be a sister wants a husband. I think the first thing should be a sister wants to be a wife. I think that's a difference, right? If you want a husband, you can get one easy, right? But you want to be a wife, that's different. We got to understand that. Now check this out. I said the daughters of Zion are bringing back feminine etiquette. Oh man. Now, I found this sister online and I love it, right? I'm gonna talk about etiquette after I play this. Just watch the wording on the screen. And she's an Israelite, obviously, right? But our sisters are bringing back etiquette, right? And etiquette, what is etiquette? Etiquette, and I did a whole study on this according to our culture, right? Etiquette is an outward manifestation of your righteousness, right? And we have to aspire to that kingdom etiquette that we once had, right? We got to aspire to it. Now, I got another video on here. Now, I'll be honest, right? I added this in here because it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. But then I thought about it. It does coincide with the lesson pretty well, right? And the other thing is, all women across the world are guilty of this, okay? I looked at multiple etiquette schools, and they all had the same training, right? So check this out. This is a short video. Watch what listen to what she's saying and watch the notes. See what I'm talking about. Can Eric, can you raise the volume on the TV?
Take your time, put your feet together, your knees locked. Because when you go down, your knees support each other. Hold the hem of your dress if you're wearing a dress. Go down, pick it up, and you're not exposing anything of it. That's what a woman is, so graceful. And so I'd like you all to try that. So this side, please stand, if you're willing. I'm not going to force anyone, but I advise you, if you plan, ladies, listen.
She was about to check everybody, but she was teaching sisters how to pick something off the floor in a gracious, ladylike manner, right? Now, I ain't pointing no fingers, Everybody, right? You know, sisters bend from the waist to pick things up as opposed to kneeling at the knee. And what happens? You're just exposed, right? Brothers trying to walk in the aisle like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't expecting that, you know what I'm saying? We got to learn how to do things properly. This is bringing back feminine etiquette. And this is what we have to teach our daughters, our young sisters, our, so on and so forth, right? We got to be that, people have to look at us and say, man, you got to be, I can't just holler at this sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to aspire to get to a point that I can talk to this sister, right? But that etiquette is something that we have to bring back, right? All right, what's happening? Let's read.
First Ezra chapter 3, verse 26.
Uh-huh.
Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women.
Many men, come on.
And become servants for their sakes.
Become servants, right? They took the poison, right? And then became captives, became servants, right? Come on.
Many also perished, have erred in sin for women.
And many have perished, erred in sins. This is where we are today, right? Testament of Judah.
Testament of Judah, chapter 15, verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And the angel of the Most High showed me that forever do women bear rule over a king and beggar alike.
So this is Judah, because Judah had a transgression. And he's like, listen, forever do women bear rule over the king and beggar, right? Come on.
And from the king, they take away his glory.
So when the king, right, submits, he's giving up his crown. You lost the crown, buddy. Right? You took the poison. You aided her in the transgression. You lost your crown. Glory is totally different. Never the same. Right? Keep going.
And from the valiant man, his might
takes away your strength. Come on.
From the beggar, even that little which is the stay of his poverty.
And even that beggar, or that broke brother trying to keep up, right? Blowing the whole bag, trying to make her happy, right? Not going to do that. You lost the crown, right? You got to know who you are. You got to understand your purpose. And if you do so, you'll never lose your crown. You'll be able to discern right and wrong and who's good for you and who's not, right? All right. We had to talk about it, right? Could I not? Because this is a spirit that is a weakness to sister. They will come on a sister, right? This picture here, when it talks about the Jezebel spirit, some signs, which I can agree with a lot of them, right? She rules her husband. She loves to manipulate. She falsely accuses the godly, like Jezebel did. She uses lust, seduction, and conspiracy to control. Claims to be religious. Refuses to accept any guilt. That's a big issue. A big issue. It's a challenge because so much has been given to sisters and put on a certain pedestal that admitting guilt and confessing is a challenge. Trust me. Is ungrateful to God, ultimately, right? The spirit of Ruth, which you find in the spirit of Sarah, right? But these are things that a sister must recognize. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Spirit of Jezebel, I've been battling with that spirit left and right for years. It come into the body, jump on somebody, I got to deal with the situation, jumps out, boom, comes right back on somebody else. I've been battling with this spirit, and you know what? I've lost about every single time. I'll be straight up. And you know how I lose? Because the brothers don't listen to me. Brother, fall back. This ain't what you want. I see all the trappings because it's the same thing over and over again. Brother don't listen, boom, lost another good man. No, what can I do? So this is why together, being heirs, we got to understand each other so we can empower each other and make each other better, right? Let's read Revelations 2.
Book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 19. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and the patience, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication.
Right, because that's what sisters are overcome with more than men. Now, we understand that in order to be discreet, discretion is a manifestation of intelligence. So a woman who's discreet will find the best path to solving an issue or completing a task, right? Women are brilliant, right? But it's these weaknesses that, if leveraged or not within control, can be to her ruin and to others, right? Let's keep going.
To teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication.
Come on.
And to eat things sacrificed unto idols. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not.
And she repented not. Come on.
Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery.
So we see Jezebel come in, and it could be that fornication could be doctrine, right? Why are you listening to a sister that ain't even a part of the church no more? Seducing you into another doctrine. So now you want to commit fornication and adultery with her? There's your end. I'm reading it right here. Heresy. Right? I will kill her and her children. You followed her. That's your fault. Keep going.
And them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation. Except they repent of their deeds.
Into great tribulation. We're going to see this in prophecy. We're going to see this in prophecy, right? Keep going.
And I will kill her children with death.
You want to follow her? The person who brought you another Christ, and you committed fornication with a criminal conversation, took heed to that, took the poison, and now you looking at us, you offended? She offended you. Offend means to get you to not trust those who you should trust. So now you don't trust Elder McCall. You don't trust Deacon Aaron. You don't trust the leaders of the church now, because you listen to this person that ain't even a part of the church no more. And you don't even know what spirit that's leading her. This is what we here for. We know. We know, right? Keep going.
And all the churches shall know that I am he which searches the reins and hearts. And I will give unto every one of you according to your works.
Okay, so I done blew my time out the water, right? So let's talk about this, right? This is something that I'm studying, right? Because it's something that I see a lot of people struggle with. And I'm trying to best understand it because I got daughters. You understand? I got people who I'm responsible for in my house and outside of my house. So I need to understand what triggers these things, such as seeking attention that's not good for you, and why, so we can help solve that with scripture, right? But let's read what we have here in this article I found.
What is attention-seeking behavior? It is a human instinct to want to be noticed.
To want to be noticed, come on.
Taken seriously. And loved.
And loved, right? Come on.
So in a certain way, attention-seeking behaviors come from a place that most of us can understand. The problem is that when attention-seeking behaviors are motivated by a feeling of low self-esteem, jealousy, loneliness, or because of a psychiatric condition. So if that motivation to seek attention is coming from a negative place, right? You know, father wasn't around, low self-esteem, jealousy, loneliness. If that's what's spurring you to seek attention, let's read. In these instances, the behavior can come across as extreme or hysterical. It can be extreme. You can go to extreme measures to fulfill now
this thorn in your flesh, right? Keep going.
Moreover, attention-seeking behavior that happens frequently
Is what?
is manipulative,
Manipulative, come on.
passive-aggressive,
Uh-huh.
or severe, can push people away,
Uh-huh.
strain relationships,
Strain relationships
or ruin them altogether.
or ruin them altogether. So Satan did a hell of a thing, right? Built the world on vanity for our brothers and sisters to chase after, not understanding the ramification that it has on our own personal relationships, right? You're on Instagram all day, but you can't carry you can't carry a conversation with somebody at dinner without your phone, right? You don't know what that means. The attention you used to getting now is a like or a heart, right? Let's keep going.
At times, severe attention-seeking behavior, especially when caused by a mental health issue
Uh-huh.
or personality disorder,
Mm-hmm.
can make it difficult for someone to stay employed
Uh-huh.
or be a functioning member of society.
So if you're constantly yearning and seeking attention, but getting the worst or the bad kind of attention, eventually you will become dysfunctional. You will become dysfunctional, right? And that's what we got to dig in the root and understand ourselves, like self-examination. Why am I doing this? Dig deep, right? What does the Bible say? Philippians 2 and 3.
Philippians chapter 2, verse 3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory,
Uh-huh.
but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves.
So if you're staying lowly in mind and you're not doing something for vainglory or strife, you're going about it the right way. Stay humble. Stay shamefaced. Don't do anything for attention. Do it for the love of Christ. Right? Let's read Philippians 4.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of one,
Uh-huh.
for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content.
So whatever state you find yourself in, whether you are married or single, you under your father's roof or what have you, be content. Be content. Don't, somebody's going to come along and they're going to offer you their fruit one way or another. And if you're not content, you'll bite it. You'll take it. Right? Keep going.
I know both how to be abased,
Uh-huh.
and I know how to abound.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere in all things, I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry,
Uh-huh.
both to abound and to suffer need.
So Paul knew how to be poor, he knew how to be rich. He knew how to have and have not. He understood all these things, right? That's what it means to be content, right? Come on.
I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me.
Which strengthens me. All right. Oh man, I don't know if I got time for this. I don't know if I got time, to be honest. Because this is long. This is really, no, this video is not long. But let me ask you, is anyone here familiar with Country Wayne?
Yeah.
Christian comedian, right? This is not an endorsement of his work. But every now and then, I may watch some of his videos to get past the time, right? So he has this series of, the season rather, and it's people that he kind of follows. They're all kind of intertwined, and he kind of covers their life, right? And I saw this string of videos that was blowing my mind because it was what I was witnessing in councils. It's what I witnessed for the 30 plus years I've been dealing with sisters, right? And I came to this epiphany that what I was seeing was not a coincidence. It was a tendency. So right now, I'm going to be surgical with this, right? I pray you allow me to, right? We're going to watch this video. You may not be in this exact situation, but there's going to be things, and I heard this, you don't want to compare, right? You want to identify what Mike said, right? You don't want to compare, you want to identify. Have you been in this situation, right? So I'm going to set the stage. It's a married couple, right? Brother and sister, right? Now, I took 4 videos and I chopped them up into this 8-minute video, right?
Man, I'm trying to tell you, bro. I feel like one of the Disney children, bro. Can you pay my bill? No. Go.
Work out.
Baby, what all you said you gonna work out?
The gym. I'm gonna be my trainer at 10.
Baby, where's the rest of your clothes? You might go meet a trainer.
Maybe with the rest of my clothes. I have my workout clothes. What are you talking about?
You have on a bra right now, baby.
I have a sports bra. Sports bra because I'm going to work out.
Bro, you might be just overreacting, bro. Let me see. Bro, sure. Oh, let me see. That DJ with my cousin, man. Come on, that's what's going on.
Going to work out, you guys. I don't understand what the big deal is.
Maybe you got
Now, Satan has done something masterful over time, right? Each generation, through incrementalism, he increases the sin. So what we saw as sin, or didn't see as sin 20 years ago or a generation or 2 ago, he incrementally gets there by celebrity endorsement, music, media, so on and so forth. To that following generation, they accept it. So desensitizing, right? So we look at what she's wearing. In our grandmother and great-grandmother's time, this would have been underwear. Like, you would have never wore this out of the house. But it's normalized now. And she's like, well, it's normal. Why can't I wear what everybody else is doing? Her husband has a different idea. So let's read. Let's watch.
stomach out, right? You're showing your whole butt. It's like, come on, you gotta cover that up.
Oh, no, not a stomach. Lord, please, not a stomach. Everyone in the gym is wearing what I'm wearing. A sports bra.
Who's this trainer? Have I met this trainer before?
Graham.
You want to jump too? Exactly. It don't matter that everybody else wearing this, but you should wear it.
What do you want me to do, babe? What do you want me to put on? I'm gonna do squats. I'm gonna do like burpees. Like I have to make sure that I'm mobile. Like when I'm.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's gonna have the whole gym mobile. They're gonna be coming to see where you at. I just need you to put on this jacket, right? And then tie something around your waist. A jogging suit. A jogging suit.
Phil, a jogging suit. Phil, now you're just instigating.
Phil, you need to be going there looking like Rocky. That's stuff to work out in.
And I'm not about to go in the gym and do all this and be all covered up. I'm gonna be hot, babe. It's hot.
Right, but it helps you sweat. That's what I thought.
Okay, all right. I look at the over. I'll oblige.
Please, baby.
All right, this is a pop quiz. Sisters, is she being submissive? No, right? She's arguing, reluctantly changed her clothes, right? She put something around her waist. But what is the husband trying to do? Protect her, right? Protect her. Because other men gonna be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And I'm one of those guys in the gym, I don't like seeing that. I pray that the Most High, he said, you got faith in the mustard seed, right? Move mountains. I want to move a gym to my neighborhood with all men. That's all I want. Peace to heaven, right? Good Lord. Planet Fitness is the worst, right? And I be in there with, man, listen, man. So, go ahead.
You see, like, she's going to see a trainer, right? And in her mind, she's like, I can handle this, you're my husband, right? But it's just like if you had, say you got a Porsche or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna bring it down here and just park it there. You got security, but you don't want to give them the chance of messing with what you got, right? Exactly. And that's what's happening there. He's trying to stop the other guys out there that don't know she married coming up there trying to open the key, open up the key. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's what's happening. That's the protection that she's not allowing him to protect her.
Exactly. Right? So let's see what happens.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So I don't want to do too much cardio. I kind of want to keep this. I don't want to lose my butt.
What is she doing there? But what did she say? She said, I want to lose my butt. She's hitting her butt, right? She's trying to get attention to her body. Make sure you don't miss this while I'm wearing this, right? So seeking attention, right? Let's see how he responds.
I want to keep it.
You gotta lie. You ain't gonna lose none of that. Is that criminal conversation? Little flirtation there. Little flirtation there. Man, I'm walking down some of my aisle right now. Trust me. All right.
So I want to,
I got you.
okay.
Make sure you get that out.
Okay, all right.
So
I trust you.
Look, you gonna step over here.
Today.
Different day.
Like that? Okay. Pushing me down.
Yes, just a little bit. Come on, there you go. Small waist. Okay, come on.
All right.
Good.
Put my lower body
Come on. What are you doing, Ernestine? What is this? What's up, boss?
What are you doing here?
Now, what am I doing here? I'm trying to figure out why he has his hands on your hips. Y'all over here laughing and playing.
Babe, he was showing me the workout.
Showing you the workout. You know how to do squats. These are basic squats.
Babe, first of all, that's embarrassing. What are you doing over here? Staking out at the gym?
I shouldn't be able to walk in the gym and see this man has his hands on your hips.
Babe, he was showing.
Now, when you go into the scriptures, it says when a man gets a wife, he's gotten a possession, right? That's his woman. He don't want to see her laughing and giggling and chucking it up flirtatiously with another man. It's offensive. That damages a man, that plagues a man's mind. What you doing with your hand around my woman's waist, right? Hey, toxic man, okay? It could be that. But let's check it out. And that's for the men lesson. We're going, listen, we tackling. Okay, anyway, let me stop.
Need a workout. No, I'm making sure my work is good.
I know what he was doing. I saw what he was doing. They over here laughing and playing. He always has his hands on your butt.
Okay, calm down.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
Babe, this is my trainer. This is my husband, Jeremy.
No, look, this is my thing. This is my issue with you and X. It's just laughing, giggling, and playing, hands on the body. There should never be a time where he has his hands on your waist.
Babe, it's not, we weren't laughing and playing. He was showing me, and we were trainer here showing them.
When I walked in the gym, this man had his hands on your waist.
Yes, he was, because my form hasn't been great, babe. I'm trying to keep it tight here. He was showing me, babe, seriously, this you're overreacting right now.
I'm overreacting?
Yes, what happens when you work?
No, she don't have no problems with it.
Okay, babe, I think we need to calm down.
If there's a problem with it.
Okay, I think we need to calm down. Stop it.
Understand? That's it.
So is that brother respecting him? Why should he when she don't? She done took that brother's crown, right? She's dangling herself, flirting in front of him. And now the brother is like, I don't know who your husband is, but I ain't got no respect for him. You clearly don't.
That's good.
Oh, that's good? All right, let's keep going.
I said, I'm talking, what was the X? I'm talking to X right now.
Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with my wife's hips. If it is, I'll find out. I was trying to lose some money.
Oh my God.
You heard that? Yeah, look, they kind of tight. I'm trying to loosen them up. That's fighting words. But he ain't got no respect for him because she didn't give him any reason to respect him. Right? Listen, there's been wars started by women because or over a woman. Right? True story.
Hey, Edison, it's just what yourself. It's not you.
Okay.
Baby, it's fine.
Now, did he do his job as a priest? Yeah, many meetings. No, we got to dead that. Order this right now. You out of control. And you define me. Right? Different day, right?
Where you going?
Where does it look like I'm going to the gym?
What gym you better go to, I understand.
The same gym I've been going to.
Okay, so obviously you didn't hear when I said you weren't going back to that gym.
I thought you were just joking. Were you serious?
Understand. Do you remember what happened the last time you was at the gym? When I told you to go home and me and your trainer had words? You're not going back to that same gym. What are you talking about?
What? Babe, I've already paid him for the session.
Okay, how much was the session?
$85.
$85.
Yeah, a lot of money.
You spent him 85. That is a lot of money.
So let's examine this situation. This situation is perfectly buttoned up. I'm doing what everybody else doing. This is the outfit I gotta wear. I'm paying a trainer. He's reputable. This is what he does. Everything looks good on the outside, right? But if she goes to her girlfriend or her mama or her auntie, listen, man, all I'm doing is I'm just wearing what everybody else wearing. Whose side they gonna be on? Right? Or we paid him already. He just wanted to waste the money. He's crazy. Right? Looks good on paper. But that man has a certain spiritual discernment that he sees there's a problem here. And I'm trying to fix it, but she's not submitting. Right?
Anyway,
Money the money for session is crazy.
wow, this makes sense. You're about to give me the money or the money that we already have together. Like what?
Yeah, you're gonna
This
take
makes
that.
sense.
You're gonna take that. You're gonna go to another gym, find another trainer. That's what's happening.
I'm not going to another gym and find another trainer. I've already built a relationship and a rapport here.
Understand? It don't matter what you want to do. You're not going back to that trainer, period. We're not even talking about that.
This is ridiculous. I mean, what gym do you expect me to go to? I'm already like so knee deep in the game. Look how raised out my body looking. You know what I mean?
Right? Everything is, I'm looking good. Don't you appreciate it? You already paid for it. Everything she's doing looks right, but she's wrong. Right?
You're being insecure. Look at this. I put this ring on your finger. You're
Yeah.
secure. All right, so there's nothing to be insecure about.
So
Nothing
if
to
you
be scared
put this here, then you should trust that when I go to the gym, I'm working with someone who's just really doing his job.
of. Whoever you work with, I need to build a rapport with them first. And that didn't happen, right? And so that was we're already a step back. Then for me to come in the gym is, look, I don't know what y'all do in that gym, but what I seen, I didn't like it, and it's not happening.
Wow, this is okay. I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's a huge deal.
Can you ever make me? This is honestly ridiculous. I think you're.
I think you're insecure.
First going in and talking to you, that's making you intimidated by the situation. You need to confront that.
You're intimidated by this situation. You need to confront your problems.
It's not about that man. Trust me. All right. So you go find you another gym and let me know which gym it is.
So everything's boxed up perfectly. Now she changes it and she attacks him. Right? And he's just doing his job as a priest. And now, if she takes this argument to anybody else, this man is crazy. He's controlling, he has toxic masculinity. I ain't dealing with this brother. Making him look crazy. Right? And see, here's the thing. When Christ saw that woman, and she said, I ain't got no husband, what Christ said? Stop playing, you got 5. Who you fooling? That same power that checked that sister is the same power that a man has. He has that spiritual discernment to rule the world. But sisters don't respect it. Sisters don't accept it. Sisters reject it. And when that man is trying to step up, trying to do the right thing for you, whether you be a daughter or a wife or a sister, you don't want to accept it because you don't respect the power that the Most High gave that man. You ain't fooling nobody. And that's what we got to overcome that. I'm hearing more and more, man, this brother crazy. This brother, he ain't crazy. I know he not. So we gotta kill this circular thing that's just destroying our families, it's destroying our nation. And you're gonna see the end result of this when we talk prophecy on the next slide. Right? Now, what do you think she did? Whoever wrote this piece Lord have mercy. I'm gonna say a woman wrote it because it's so detailed, right? Check it out. Ridiculous.
Yo. Oh, what's up? I'm doing good myself.
I had better days, but I'm here.
Okay. Did you look like that?
I did not look today, actually. I was actually just coming back and let you know that.
Really? From between what happened to me and your husband?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It became a whole thing, and I have to respect my husband and respect my marriage, and this can no longer be client-trainer relationship.
Wow. I don't even understand that.
It's just, I at this point in my marriage, I have to respect what my husband does. He's the head of our household, and I want to make him feel respected and honored, and I especially brought you a gift.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For helping my body go to get my glutes right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What is it?
Is that a parting gift or a poison pill?
Oh, see.
See, y'all followed the lesson. Y'all got all the answers right. All right.
This is good.
I like it. Yeah, I guess that's the end of this. It's a pleasure. It's grateful for you. Thank you for welcoming me to the gym family and good to miss everyone here. And
No, we're gonna miss you too. Yeah, we are.
well, I'm gonna get out of your hair and
Okay.
honor
Honor you, man.
I'll see you around. Though, I mean, my husband, he did say, I couldn't train with you before. I think he didn't say I couldn't, like, still, go for lunch, something.
Lunch? I guess I'm down. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So the husband is the priest. He peeped it from the beginning when she was going out. Now, she might not have been deceived at that point. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. This is make believe, but I'm just saying, right? But everything he knew, something wasn't right. And he was trying to protect her from that. Trying to protect her. But because she wasn't submissive, she didn't grab that or accept that protection. She fought against it. And now, even before all that, fornication. Let's go prophecy, right? We're actually almost done. Isaiah chapter 3.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Moreover, the Most High saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty.
So this is the Most High saying this, right? He said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, right? Come on.
And walk with stretched forth necks.
Uh-huh.
And wanton eyes.
And wanton eyes.
Walking and mincing as they go.
Uh-huh.
And making a tinkling with their feet.
Now, Strong's definition, wanton means to ogle or blink coquettishly. What does coquettish mean? For the sake of the lesson, behaving in such a way as to suggest a playful sexual attraction, being flirtatious. So the Most High was angry that, or accusing the daughters of Zion of behaving this way. And we're going to see what the judgment was, right? Mincing as they go, moving or behaving in an aesthetically dainty or delicate way. What does aesthetically mean? In a way that is artificial, fake, pretentious, and designed to impress, trying to get attention. I'm gonna get your attention. I'm gonna throw a little extra on this hip, and he gonna notice me, right? I'm gonna put this outfit on at the gym. Yeah, that brother gonna notice me. Let's keep reading.
Verse 17.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, the Most High will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord will discover their secret parts.
Meaning their secret parts, meaning that was the prophecy of sisters dressing more provocatively, right? Revealing their bodies, right? Discovering their secret parts, right? Come on.
And the day of the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls, and their round tires, like the moon. the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings.
So obviously you can tell the door design like the dress, right? As we do today. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but they were getting haughty with it. That was the issue that the Most High had, right? Continue.
And nose jewels, and changeable suits of apparel, and mantles, and wimples, and crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen.
Jump to verse 25.
Verse 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and the mighty in war.
So the daughters of Zion were acting haughty. They were wantonized, flirting, mincing as they go, right? And the Most High said, I'm going to take all this stuff from you, right? The last thing he said, I'm going to take from you is what? Your man. Your men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. So this is prophetic. This is occurring now. Our men are in prison. Our men are on drugs. Our men are dying by the hands of fentanyl and alcohol and killing each other over rap songs. That's what's happening with our men. That is a curse due to what the Most High saw sisters operating as, right? Go ahead.
And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
So now the Most High said, I'm going to take everything away from you, and I'm going to take your men. The next chapter, verse 1.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
So the reason why it's 7 women taking hold of one man, because the Most High wiped all the men out, because the daughters of Zion were acting horny, right? Chapter 3 continues into chapter 4, right? So this time that we're going into, the last days, Jacob's trouble, this is the humbling of the nation of Israel, right? And the thing is, while we have the time under grace to get things right, we have to be progressive and aggressive in getting it right, learning how to submit, to be shamefaced, to be righteous daughters and wives and sisters, right? Do it now, because if we wait until this, a lot of people ain't built for this time, right? Keep going, we're going to show you.
Saying, we will eat our own bread.
Come on.
And wear our own apparel.
Come on.
Only let us be called by thy name. Take away our reproach.
So the only way a daughter of Zion is going to take away the chastisement and reproach of the Most High is if you do what you were supposed to do in the beginning. Humble yourself and submit under your man, under your father, under the leadership. That's the only way out. You want that reproach to be taken away? And the thing is, I always say, you cannot turn righteousness on like a light switch. Your time to learn how to do this is now. You wait until then, you ain't gonna know how to do it. You're gonna be fighting all the way. And the Most High might say, all right, you didn't get it. Taking you out, right? Let's read 2 Ezra 16.
2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 21.
Almost done. Come on.
Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth.
Come on.
Sword, famine, and great confusion.
So this is Jacob's trouble, the last days, right? Famine, sword, great confusion, right? Come on.
For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. And the other that escape the hunger shall be the sword destroyed. Shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. And there shall be no man to comfort them.
No man to be around, because they would have died by the sword in the war. No man will be there, right? Come on.
For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down.
So you see what Satan's agenda was through feminism? Don't appreciate your man. Get him out the house. I'll feed you. Right? Because he knew this day was going to come. And you will desire one, a righteous man, and can't find it. Right? Keep going.
There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it.
Go ahead.
The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them?
Mm-hmm.
The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men.
All places shall be desolate of men, right? Come on.
So that one man shall desire to see another and hear his voice.
Uh-huh.
For of a city there shall be 10 left,
Uh-huh.
and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks.
Now, I would hope it don't take to that day for a sister to learn submission, right? Because I wonder if I'm there to witness that, right? I got 7 under the first one out of line and being disrespectful. I'm like, listen, grace is over. I think, we're gonna send you out there, right? Getting chased by Nephilim. But it shouldn't be your fear of your life that should drive you to get correct. It should be the fear of the Most High and doing His will for salvation that's to motivate you. Now, let's finish in our second Ezra.
Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 31. Even so in those days, there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword.
Come on.
And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel through there. So that path is going to be thorny. It's going to be desolate. The world is going to be basically destroyed. Right? Let's read the last verse, 33. Verse 33. The virgins shall mourn. The virgins, meaning women of marriageable age, right? Come on. Having no bridegroom. No husbands. The women shall mourn, having no husband. Come on. The daughters shall mourn, having no helper. Having no helper. This is the day that we're facing. We're closer to this day than we were yesterday. It's coming. So this is why we got to order things right now. So when this day comes, we are going to persevere and endure through it. And it's going to take sisters playing their role in their part and brothers playing their role in understanding sisters and how to lead and guide them and dwelling with them according to knowledge. I got a video here. I'm going to play this. We got a couple more slides left. Almost done, man. This is a long one.
But as a single woman, I wanted you to know, like, no, I do need you. I do make my own money. I do have my own brand. I'm smart, I'm intelligent, all of that, but I still need you. Like, I think you're supposed to need a man. It's a design. It's a spiritual design. You know what I mean? So no matter how much money you make or how independent a thinker you are, how smart you are, how successful you are, it is designed for us to need each other. And at that moment when I wrote that piece, or that piece really came to me, I just needed Black men to know that I'm here for you. We are here for you. Black women, there are plenty of Black women out here who are waiting for you. We love you. We are born to pour into you. We're born to nurture, to protect, to comfort, to lift. One of my favorite lines in that poem says, I will pull greatness out of you. Like, I need you to know that that's a gift of mine. That is a gift of women and Black women in particular. We will pull that greatness out of you. And I think that Black men were forgetting that. And I needed to send that reminder.
So she's an actress and also a poet and a writer, and she wrote a poem that covered that, right? And what I think she quantified exactly what really is the truth, right? We need each other, but we got to operate according to the order that the Most High has designed us to operate in, right? All right, we're going to wrap this up. Back to Jacob's trouble, and we're going to wrap it up.
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And notice it doesn't say 7 wives, right? It's 7 women, right? We're going to seek that righteous man's hedge of protection, right? Keep going. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So we understand that there's going to be a calling into the wilderness and then eventually an escape, right, to Jerusalem, and that's a whole nother lesson. Let's keep going. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy. Come on. even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem,
Come on.
when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion.
So this is the end. That end, once we escape out of the wilderness, because now the army is going to come upon us and we go into the land of Israel, there's going to be a final siege where they're going, I mean, you read about it, it's pretty graphic. We're going to be catching it even in Jerusalem. And then at that last moment, that last bated breath, Christ cracks the sky, right? So he's saying, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion at that moment, in those last days, all the filth that we read about in the first scripture in Job, men and women, we are filthy. Our righteousness is as a filthy rags. So in this day, that filth will be removed from the daughters of Zion. So we have something to aspire to every day to get right, right? Keep going.
And shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof, by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
Prophecy. Let's get it. The kingdom has come. Isaiah 35.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 35, verse 1. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them. Come on.
And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. Right? Come on.
It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing.
It will blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. Come on.
The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it. The excellency of Carmel and Sharon.
So the excellency of Carmel and Sharon, what is this? Anybody know what that is? The excellency of Carmel and Sharon? All right, let's go.
They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our power.
So they will witness the glory of the Most High through the excellency that they'll see in the excellency of Sharon and Carmel, right? So Sharon, and this is from the Cultural Bible, is a low coastal plain stretching south from Mount Carmel. It is well watered due to the Kukar ridges running parallel to the shore, which trap the water runoff from the Samaritan hills. The combination of low sandy hills and swampy lowgrounds produced heavy vegetation and an abundance of wildflowers in the area. So it was an area that was beautified with flowers, naturally this came out, right? The excellency of Carmel and Sharon, that wilderness will blossom like the rose. Now, I started off with a poem, right? The rose that grew from concrete, right? So I'm gonna finish it with a poem. This is out of the Song of Solomon, right? Now, when you look in the Song of Solomon, you gotta kind of figure out, who's speaking in what voice. So for the purpose of this lesson, I laid that out for you so you can understand, okay? Now, the first person is the beloved, which is the wife, the bride, the virgin, the maiden, and her lover, which is the man. Let's go.
The beloved to her lover, I am the rose of Sharon.
I am the rose of Sharon, right? Come on.
And the lily of the valleys.
And the lily of the valleys, the lover to her beloved.
As a lily among thorns, so is my love among the daughters.
So this rose of Sharon, she's a lily of the valleys, right? She's a lily among thorns, even amongst her own kind. Let's read, beloved about her lover.
As the apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my beloved among the sons. I sat down under his shadow with great delight. His fruit was sweet to my taste. He brought me to the banqueting house.
He brought her to the banqueting house, right? Maybe a wedding feast, right? Come on.
And his banner over me was love. Stay me with flagons. Comfort me with apples. For I am sick of love. His left hand is under my head, and his right hand doth embrace me.
She was so full of love, she felt that she was getting sick, right? Let's read. the beloved to the maidens. Come on.
I charge you,
I charge you,
O ye daughters of Jerusalem,
O ye daughters of Jerusalem.
by
So the rose of Sharon is what? A daughter of Zion. So that excellency of Sharon that will return and blossom as the rose are the daughters of Zion. You follow me? Keep going.
by the roses,
Uh-huh.
and by the hens of the field, that ye stir not up, nor wake my love till he please.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 8.
The beloved about her lover. Come on.
The voice of my beloved, behold, he cometh leaping upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills. My beloved is like a roe or a young hart.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, he standeth behind our wall. He looketh forth at the windows,
Uh-huh.
showing himself through the lattice.
The lover to his beloved.
My beloved spake and said unto me, rise up, my love,
Rise up, my love,
my fair one,
my fair one,
and come away.
and come away. Remember, this is the kingdom, right? Keep going.
For lo,
Uh-huh.
the winter is past.
Come on.
The rain is over and gone.
Mm-hmm.
The flower appeared on the earth.
Come on.
The time of the singing of the birds is come.
It's a time of rejoicing now, right? That the rose of Sharon has now returned. The excellency of Sharon, right? Who has now blossomed as a rose, is now a woman that is ready for the marriage, ready to submit, ready to live for her Lord. Continue.
And the voice of the turtle
Come on.
is heard in our land.
Uh-huh.
The fig tree putteth forth her green figs.
Remember, when you're sitting under the fig tree, that's a time of peace. So we're talking about the kingdom, right? Continue.
And the vines with the tender grape give a good smell.
Uh-huh.
Arise,
Arise, my love. Come on.
my love, my fair one,
My beautiful one. Come on.
and come away.
And come away. Right? You are the rose that came from concrete. That concrete is Babylon to me. That's how I perceive it. No one cared about you. They left you to then go out for this spiritual war and this physical war. Right? Live the life that the Most High intended for you to live. Follow the Most High in Christ. Understand what your weaknesses are. Become that rose that is blossomed and now is ready for the ultimate marriage, which is the kingdom of heaven. There's only one way we're going to get there, and that's following the precepts in the Bible. So I address you as the rose of Sharon. Now is the time to be that rose, to bring back that kingdom etiquette, and let's get this kingdom come. Shalom.
Be a cook in the kitchen, a lady in the street. You can't show your teeth to every guy you meet. It's all right to be a little sweet, but be a mama with the kids and you